See, this is something very unprecedented in the history of this country, I suppose. I mean, to the best of my memory, I have never heard of this kind of a thing, that they had to impose president rules because despite being a majority, there is no split in the party, two-thirds people forming a different group. That kind of thing is not there simply because they couldn't choose who is the leader among themselves. This has come about. It is at one level deprivation of the people's, will that get expressed through their elected members in the state assembly. Earlier, they have been doing this unconstitutional misgovernance that has aggravated the tragedy in the state. Not taking appropriate action at appropriate time. Just as their misgovernance, irresponsible conduct of being a government, both sides, Delhi as well as the one which was in Imphal. Again, we are losing this state assembly, which is the embodiment of the people's, will of the state. This is very unfortunate at that level. So what can I say? They have destroyed the state. They have destroyed the constitutional propriety. In fact, it's the first time Article 174(1) was not followed, so it is against the Constitution. So that's why unconstitutional ways and destruction of the state during the last 21 months because of complete misgovernance. Now, because they cannot have their own house in order, you should remember that I have been insisting that they should give their cabinet one voice, which has never been the case. Two of the cabinet ministers is part of those who are demanding UT, and the groups of the cabinet was not speaking in two voice all this while. They cannot have a singular voice at the moment again, and that's why we suffer. So there are complete misgovernance, unconstitutional conduct, 174(1) not being followed. This is unprecedented. I feel very sad for the people of the state at one level, but I am also very offended by the manner in which the government of India has conducted itself over the last 21 months. This is the ultimate culmination of the same contemptuous attitude towards the constitutions and the people of the state.
Do you see, if I conclude your remarks, do you want to say that the imposition of the president rule was not his choice, it was out of compulsion?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, they had no other choice. It's not because of anything else, because their house were not in order. BJP, ruling party, cannot, keep themselves together. They have forgotten that the people have given them the mandate, and they have sort of destroyed the trust of the people by heaping on this tragedy on them and this humiliation that we have suffered. This is the same thing they are doing it again. This will go down in history, the manner in which they have conducted themselves, the government of India. I take it as, contemptuous display of, disregarding the people of the state of Manipur, nothing else.
You still stand by that thing, and at the same time, do you feel that this president rule will help out in restoring the peace in the state and restoring the faith of the people in the government, in the administration, in the bureaucracy?
That is in the realm of what ought to be, what should be, as it has been the case. The government of India should have done, the government of Manipur should have done the so-called double engine. They should have, they ought to have, which they have not done. And still, since they have been doing like that, I can't quite say that they will do it, but it is still the questions. At one level, the proxy government is gone now. So it is the government of India is directly in charge of it now. But given that what they have been doing in the last 21 months, whether the government of India would be doing a judicious job or not, I'm not very sure. They might still play the dirty game of dividing people. That is one of my suspicions, and surreptitiously implementing their all political calculation at the expense of the dignity and the well-being of the people of the state. That is the most likely or the legitimate suspicion that many of us in the state will have about the government of India taking over the rule, because they have been doing this. But as far as what ought to be and what should be done is that they should be providing a responsible government, a sensitive and judicious administrations to ensure that the life and property and the dignity of the people of this state remains intact, and there is no underhand politics being played.
So when the Parliament was in function till today evening, Parliament was in order and the session was on, and we got this update and this order by the Parliament. First spell of the budget session concludes. Just after that, this notification comes. Do you think any coincidence?
Yeah, that is what that BJP has been doing. That is what we have been saying. They have been subverting the constitutions all along. That's what the debate is. What we have been saying, and I have been saying that Manipur is a classic example of that. That's why I said the crisis in Manipur, though people tend to look at it as an exception, but I think the exception will tell what this country is all about. I have insisted that. They have subverted. I'm saying it. 174(1) is subverted. The autonomy of the state, law and order being a subject matter of the state, is not followed. Then you have the legislative oversight functions of the assembly. When the crisis began in August 2023, where you have less than half an hour session for the namesake. So, if you open up this legislative functioning properly, then obviously the executive wrongdoings can be exposed by the legislative oversight function of the parliament or the state assembly. They have been doing it. That's why they don't want to hold the assembly. Here also, since they're waiting for it, because the people of this country will get to know if they do it, if the parliament is in session, then we'll be raising issues. Why this issue has been done. I was waiting for the chance today also. Then we have the issue of, Adani is getting this thing on the border and sensitive issues. They've been doing this. So, but you're right, this is completely a subversion of constitutional machinery. And that means when I said the legislative oversight function of the parliament and the assembly, they've been trying to undermine that for a long, long time, and this is also a classic case of that.
So the expectation of the midterm polls, because in 2022, Manipur went to the polls, and now we are talking in the first 2 months of the 2025. Almost half of the tenure has been completed. Still, do you think that midterm poll can be a possibility to restore peace, or is there a situation to conduct midterm poll?
Well, one of the thing is, my suspicion is that by putting under suspended animation, the state assembly, Uh, there will be a lot of horse trading. That's one suspicion, and trying to reconcile among themselves the exchange of, wealth to reconcile. And I wouldn't be surprised if they reinstate the same old government. It's a completely, a party without any sense of Raj Dharma, and the manner in which they have done to the constitutional, propriety, you can very well sense that. So they must be waiting for this kind of dealing. So I suspect that there could be a lot of horse trading now, and then trying to reconcile among this so-called divided camps within their own party. In that sense, is again an insult and taking the people of the state for granted. In that one, just hunger for power, and that can be settled through exchange of illegal money and so on. That's quite possible. I'm not going to rule it out. I only wish that the people in this country and people in my home state know that the well-being of we as a state, a historically evolved state, we've never seen such kind of state where, for instance, people cannot move from one place to another. This has never happened in this scale. So they don't care, all these things. I wish that people of the state keep this thing in their mind, simply because they couldn't keep their house in order all along, subverting Manipur as a constitutional entity under Indian constitutions. I have reminded them that we had a constitution, we had an assembly that was subverted in 1949. That should have been something like past is past, and we can look forward. Again, even as an entity under the Indian constitution, you have subverted its autonomy, and you subverted the will of the people of the state, which is represented in our assembly, simply because among themselves there is a power-hungry people. They do not agree among themselves. If it is sincere, then if in an unpopular political executive has been removed, then they should be able to give an alternative, because people have given them their mandate, which they don't care. All that they care is power, and that's the thing. I think, but if and when any possible challenge is thrown, I think my party would be ready to face it. Even if there is a new election, we will face it. Want our people to know what we have gone through in the last 21 months. And we should speak just as they have spoken out during the last Lok Sabha election, that we cannot be taken for granted, even if we are a small state, few lakhs of populations, treating us as insignificant, immaterial, our tragedy doesn't matter kind of an attitude. I think people should know this.